Welcome to the Carousel, where we discuss video games, movies, sometimes comic books, and whatever awful things those conversations lead to. I am John, also known as Musum. With me I have Randy.
Hello.
And I have Jake.
So Netflix, hello. Netflix had me as a 95% match for Frasier. So, I think I need to start, doing some push-ups or something and just stop being such a fucking nerdlinger.
I don't know. Yeah, eat some steak.
I mean, they didn't mean I was a physical match for Frasier. Even though, I'd probably be closer to Niles because I am fucking skinny. But yeah, I decided I need to start watching some manlier stuff.
Watch some Anthony Bourdain. That's pretty manly.
He's a lot cooler than I thought he was.
He's a cool dude. A little bit of a dick, but not too much. Anyway.
I like the episodes
what's
I've seen of his show.
Maybe I'm not thinking of the right guy. What's the name of his show where he's traveling around? It's some cute pun.
Well, he did a few. The first one was No Reservations, and the one he's got going now is called crap. I can't.
That's
remember.
an awful title.
But he's damn it! I can't believe I'm forgetting. But he's got a new one out that airs on CNN, and that's the one that's on Netflix now. Parts Unknown. That's what it's called.
Okay, yeah, that is him. I heard him on. God, we are just fucking old men forgetting everything. Terry Gross.
Yeah. NPR. Oh
Yes.
man, we're gonna bring it back to the kids with NPR.
So speaking of real manly shows, John, you want to kick this off with some Jessica Jones?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that came out. I watched it all. Did you guys watch it all?
No, I have not seen any Jessica Jones besides which was on the TV while my wife was.
I watched about 4 episodes of it, and I've since canceled my Netflix, so there you go.
Gotcha.
Jessica Jones made Jake cancel his Netflix.
Well, you stopped before the big twist happens, which I think happens in episode 5 or 6. Or did you get to the twist? I really thought you had messaged something about getting to the twist, but maybe you didn't.
I think I spoiled myself on it, and I've since forgotten it. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm good. Nothing. Does anything ever fucking happen in that show?
It's just,
'Cause
do
it
you
seemed
know?
really slow.
Did you ever find out who the bad guy was?
as far as I can tell, there isn't one.
Okay, so you didn't get to.
Because nothing's fucking happening.
You didn't get to the twist. You quit right before the twist. A lot of people online seem to really like the show after the twist, and they think that it makes the first few episodes a lot better.
Terrible way to make a show.
I think the first season of Jessica Jones is fucking amazing. I think the second season is not good.
I've heard that.
I've
heard that about a lot of the Marvel Netflix shows.
it's better than Iron Fist.
Wow. Come on now.
I think Luke Cage. Iron Fist was terrible. Do you like Iron Fist?
I didn't watch it because everybody said it sucked.
Oh, okay. It's better than the Defenders. Well, maybe. No, it's better than the Defenders. Defenders really was not that great. And I'd probably put it under. I think I like Luke Cage and Daredevil season 2 and season 1 and Jessica Jones season 1 better than it. But it's so the plot line picks up pretty soon after, and Jessica Jones is working her detective gig and has I should have written down their names, but the other guy who lives in the complex working for her, and she's still treating him like shit. And then you have Trish still trying to hunt down Simpson and the military guys who gave him the superpower drug stuff, and a large part of her story arc is her A, trying to hunt them down, but also B, trying to become a superhero or something. About 5 episodes in, it might be 6 episodes, there is I think it's 6 episodes. There's a kind of a big, this is how this character is relevant to Jessica moment, which evidently worked online for a lot of people, because I was reading through the comments of the Polygon article, for instance, and most of those seemed pretty positive. But for me, I have seen that twist too many times, and I've never thought it was a good twist.
You know what? Yeah, I think I remember what it is now. But it's basically... they did this evil government superpower shit kind of in Stranger Things 2, and I didn't like it there. And they're sort of doing it here, and I feel like it's been done a billion times, and that's not
Yeah.
the spoiler piece.
It's not really the government doing it, though. It's just this guy on his own that's kind of individually financed, but he's not even necessarily a bad guy. He's not the bad guy of the show, at least. But, like, basically, it's a show of unlikable people with a very bland storyline that
Well, these
ends in
streaming
the most
services-
predictable... Well, okay, not the most predictable. It ends... How do I put this? It ends in a predictable manner, but how it gets to the ending is less predictable in a really bad, dumb way.
Man,
I think they're abusing their power. You know, just
They-
because
Netflix or
Netflix,
Marvel?
to some extent, Amazon, you know, these streaming services, they're sort of banking on that people are going to binge these shows instead of,
Well,
you know,
yeah, that's why
except
they
for the
release
ones
them
that
all at
they're
once.
well, except the ones that they're purposefully waiting weeks to release, which seems weird. But they're abusing that in that they don't have to make you want to come back next week. And what that's good in that you don't need to end every episode on a cliffhanger, but it also allows them to make 3 and 4 episode chunks where just nothing fucking happens.
Right, they're missing the point. The thing that makes people binge is wanting to see the next episode.
Well,
Right, that's what makes people watch 5, 6 in a row.
I'll tell you, the first season of Jessica Jones I watched within 1 to 2 days. This one I watched over a period of a week, and honestly, like 3 days of that week, like I stopped like mid last episode and just never went back. And then like a couple days ago, I was like, oh yeah, shit, I probably should go ahead and finish it and see what okay, yeah, sure, of course that's gonna happen. Of course they
Well,
went that way.
sure.
The only shows I've actually binged are the ones that were aired on TV.
Well, and they
Because they're made to hook you.
Yeah, that's not the case for me, but it's definitely the stuff that I binged. You know, like the first Jessica Jones, I watched, I think, in a sitting, and that was largely
wow.
because of David Tennant. But the stuff that I binged was either was on TV, like you said, or was still early in that transition where people didn't quite start making shows that were on bingeable
Right.
services, so they
They
still
didn't.
had that sort of makeup.
They didn't have original content yet.
so
Yeah, I think you're right.
I will say one of the other things that I think really hurts this show the most, like incredibly bad there's a lot of things that hurt this show. So the dialogue in this show has no subtlety and no like ambiguity in it whatsoever. Like everyone says exactly what they mean, how they mean it, and are incredibly direct. And I realize TV shows and things have to do that to a degree, like they have to communicate in an odd way, like not how you would in real life, because they
Yeah.
have to make sure the audience is keeping up. But like at the same time, like you got to have a little bit of mystery, a little bit of intrigue, something. But the other thing that really doesn't do the show any service is, I don't know whether to blame it on the directing or the editing, but some of these scenes are just absolutely terrible. You have a moment where Jessica's kind of seeing things and getting upset about it, and she turns around and yells like, go away or shut up or something, and you know, inevitably there's someone down the street who hears her too.
Go away or shut up or something.
But like it's like her cry for it was like the weakest that you could be, and like the camera and the setup for it just did not do that scene any favors. Like it could have had some sort of impact or a moment. Instead it just came off as fairly weak, and like that's not uncommon through the show. Like
And there's lines that it's just like they make you hate the character. The one I wrote down was I think Jessica said, if I believed in God, I'd say her humor's for shit, or her sense of humor's for shit. And it's like, what better way to get across in one line that this person is someone you would never want to speak to?
Yeah.
Like, it's just such a douchebag, smarmy line, and it's like, some writer wrote that down and was like, yeah, that's fucking cool. I nailed it. Like, I'm getting all this stuff across, and it's a badass line. It's like, no, you just
gonna
made her sound like
yeah.
a self-important douchebag.
I'm gonna convert people.
So I want to spoil, like, because I feel there's a scene at the end of the show, is incredibly minor spoiler, but it's a scene I feel like explains all of my problems with the show in one go. So you have Trish Walker walking away from Jessica's apartment. She goes to get in the elevator. She drops her phone and catches it with her foot. And looks shocked she catches it with her foot. This is the show inferring that Trish Walker now has some sort of super agility.
Does she have like chimp feet?
But she's literally wearing...
she grabbed
No.
it like with her palm of
She's
her
literally wearing a skirt. She drops her phone and just moves her foot forward and catches it like a hacky sack. Like, it is the most unimpressive thing I've ever seen. And then the camera
Right.
goes to her face and she goes, and then looks around like, did anyone see me do this?
And
And
it's
then
like,
gets
you're-
on the elevator looking more confident and like, I have superpowers now. It is the dumbest fucking moment I have. Okay, it isn't the dumbest moment I've ever seen in my life.
That's pretty
Pull back the
outlandish.
hyperbole, but
The dumbest in the show, right?
it is. It's. I feel like that is this entire show in a nutbag. Like, the first thing, the fucking lawyer goes and does, like
Oh, shit,
in the
that's
show, is
wild.
like, I'm gonna go get hookers and blow. Like,
Literally, I'm just going to drive around until my car is full of hookers,
yeah,
and then I don't know. We're just gonna make a day of it.
Yeah.
Like,
you want some cocaine? No? Okay, I'm gonna have some more cocaine. Like, it felt like that South Park episode, the rock band one, where they're like, hookers and blower over there, and, like, it was... It's bad. Like,
and for the literal $8 billion that they're spending on shows this year, that speedster at the beginning of the in the first couple episodes, when they show him actually doing his flash shtick, to steal a word from you, John, when he's doing his flash dance, it literally looks like told the guy, all right, we want you to speed walk to the end of the block and then make a left, and we're gonna speed up the film.
yeah,
It looks so fucking terrible.
it does.
And like you were saying with the writing, I literally out loud called 3 of the jokes in the first 15 minutes. Like, so not only is it bad, it's bad enough to where I could come up with it, and it's also predictable. That's a trifecta of just garbage.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, the more we talk about it, the worse it gets in my head. I'm so glad I could share that Trish Walker scene. I hate it so much. Like, and you know, I liked Trish in the first season. I don't like her in the second season. Like, they do a pretty fantastic job of ruining her character. And they've already started the thing where, I mean, it's not Jessica doing it, but you know, like, oh, guess what? We're just gonna have the other cast members all sleep with each other for better and worse. But anyway, I think it's really bad. I want to say I'm done with Marvel Netflix, but I know me, and the second they release another Marvel show, I'm going to watch it. But, like, on this, like,
You're
there were
an
several
addict,
points where I turned it off, and I thought, should I even go back to this show? And I could easily see, like, if the next whatever Marvel Netflix thing comes out, if I get that same feeling, I could easily see me not going back to it.
You know what you should do, John? Is every time you get that urge, you're like, ooh, I need to check out Jessica Jones season 3 or whatever it is. Just go work on a song instead,
Well,
and you'll be super productive, and you'll feel better.
I need a project to work on a song. Like, I don't have a project right
Ah.
now, but...
Gotcha.
This show seemed like it was running on fumes. You know, because, again, that show was good because of David Tennant. It's the same thing that I bring up every single goddamn time. We talk about a Marvel show, and it's the villains. The villains are good,
Yeah.
the show's good. And when you don't have a villain for the first 4, at least, episodes,
What are you doing?
well, what are you doing? And, like, the only thing keeping this thing going was Kristen Ritter, because she's awesome. And they start feeding her these super shitty lines, and they're ruining Kristen Ritter. Like, they're killing
Yeah.
her career. They need to stop because I like her. But, man, it's super fucked.
They, I wish you had actually gotten to see the villain, like, in full execution. Just because you aren't, like, the first episodes are really not representative of the rest of the series, but
But,
I
mean,
don't know,
was-
man. Like, the
there's,
problem
what,
is
9
they never,
episodes?
like, in my opinion, they should have come up with a good villain, but they also should not have tried to top David Tennant as the Purple Man.
Kilgrave.
Yeah, I think that was the wrong direction to go with it. I think they just needed something else that was that had a good edge to it, and they didn't do that. And I honestly, I think another thing that's going to make all these Marvel Netflix series stround is that they aren't combining the characters anymore, and I think that's, you know,
What do you mean?
I mean, they're
like
probably
there's
done,
no
right?
there's no Luke Cage, of course there's no Daredevil after ending of the Avengers, but like none of the other Marvel heroes show up in Jessica Jones. So
Okay,
Oh,
two things. Was
gotcha.
Daredevil in Avengers?
well,
And
no,
then remind
but
me
Defenders.
how Defenders ended. That we're not going to see him anymore. It's not like he died, right?
Yeah, he was. Well, okay. They
It's a year and a half old. We can spoil it. And if you don't want it spoiled,
basically they're in that underground cave that's however many like mile or two beneath the surface of the earth, and him and Elektra get blown up in it, or it gets collapsed on them.
oh yeah.
And then he wakes up in a bed in a nunnery. So I
you
think
do.
the inference is that
Right.
his mom has found him and taken him in.
all those
Found him.
underground nuns found him.
Yeah,
They
buried
live in the underground.
a mile deep in a collapsed mine, but we found
underground.
him.
Oh man,
The weather underground.
yeah.
I don't know. Well, so their deal with Disney has got to be kind of coming to the end of its course too, right? I mean, they're losing all the movies as of what, next year, I think.
I'm really curious about how that's going to work out once Disney starts their own streaming channel.
I mean, I think I saw they were making they had like one or two more in the hopper, I want to say. But once those are done, why would they? There is a brutal fight happening
I
behind.
know they're fighting each other.
Um,
Anyway,
Wow, wow, the Twitch watchers just went up by 2,000%.
the internet loves cats.
We just got to get Drake, and we'll be set. Where the fuck was I talking about before that knife fight started happening behind you?
We're-
Oh,
Oh,
we were talking. Yeah.
so they're not going to be getting Disney movies anymore. I can't imagine that they're going to extend this deal, and really, if they're not going to recombine these characters, and you kind of ran your course on what you can do with them, because none of these people really has more than one or two good villains. We're not talking about Batman or Spider-Man here. So once you run through those, what's the incentive to keep making these shows? I don't think there is one.
Honestly, I think Disney's incentive would just be a financial one. They have a bunch
Yeah,
of
the
shows.
incentive
They
would
are
be-
like, it's not like Netflix is going to let Disney show these shows on the Disney network, right?
But
Yeah,
they're
it's
they're
either-
paying them a licensing fee.
I mean, it's a
That's
joint
it.
deal,
That's the
right?
incentive, Jake. It's contractual and financial. Like,
Yeah.
they got to keep going.
I mean,
It's
like
not because
what
they
I'm
have
saying-
good stuff to say or make. It's
Well,
because they have to.
like,
and that's
for-
why it sucks.
for Disney, I think it's just double dipping. It's Disney will have their own channel with everything on it, and then they'll also have Netflix cutting them checks for these Marvel Netflix shows.
But do we know that that's how that worked?
I have no idea
not like
how
they're
any of this
getting,
works.
Royalties, probably, right? And even if they do, I mean, I wouldn't fuck with them. But what's to stop Netflix from telling Disney, nobody watched them this month? So
Well,
like
even
that
if-
makes me think it's more of a one-time deal. But I guess I don't know.
I got to think that Netflix's big bucks are watching stuff over again. Like, people rewatch The Office. People are watching Friends. I've rewatched Breaking Bad a few times. Is anybody going to rewatch Jessica Jones?
The first season,
I don't even know if I'd go back to that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are people nobody's going to rewatch Iron Fist? know?
there are some defenders online that are, but yeah, the majority of people not.
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Okay. There's always going to be a few people. I'm talking about. I see the joke too, but no. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, do you think I'm off? Like, it's people spending time on Netflix. Like, I'll put on Friends or The Office and do something else, like clean the living room.
Yeah, but
That's
like
traffic to
Netflix is
Netflix that they
refocusing.
can sell.
Like they've been refocusing to original content. Like there's not a ton of not original content on there.
Well, they have
anymore.
to because everybody's trying to get in the game, right? Everybody's putting their shit on their own website streaming, like FX and HBO
I guess
and AMC. Like, everybody's taking it off of Netflix, putting it on their own service, and so, well, what do you do? Oh, well, we got to make original content.
all I'm talking about when we're talking about the Marvel Netflix shows is you have a show that two companies were involved in making. So there's no way that Disney can walk away with them without some sort of buyout, I imagine. And there's no way that Netflix can walk away with them without some sort of buyout. So
Yeah.
Which would never fucking happen.
yeah, so from that perspective, like, I'm
They'll
willing
stay.
to bet, like, as long as they are popular and getting views, they will make them. I mean, the movie Bright was heralded as, like, one of the worst movies of all time, yet it's getting a sequel, right? Like, people
Heralded
still
as.
watched.
Brighter. It was, man, I started up because I wanted to see what the future was going to look like, you know? That Netflix is putting out real big budget movies now, and then I got like half an hour in, I was like, am I going to force myself to finish this just to say I watched it? And like, the answer is no,
Right.
fuck that
Yeah.
thing.
That's a terrible reason to keep watching something.
I mean, Netflix still has a couple good shows on it, like that they're doing originals. I wish they would do second seasons of the shows I really like.
They got
Like,
good stuff, good-ish stuff coming up.
I wish
I
they'd
mean-
make a second season of Dear White People. That show was fucking awesome.
They're making a second season of 13 Reasons, which is like the dumbest shit.
God, that's just gonna ruin that entire first season.
I
by
know.
doing that.
I know. Yes. So, like I don't know. Sometimes I think they don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to stay relevant.
Yeah, I don't know. Troll Hunter's
And
good.
it's, you know, for me, it's definitely a trial separation. Because there's stuff that I would watch that, like, you know, my streaming is going to end before that comes out. But, like, so I probably would renew to see the next season of Series of Unfortunate Events. Because that's pretty much across
Oh
the board.
yeah, that's a good show.
Great show.
Okay.
But, like, Santa
Yeah,
Clarita
NPH.
Diet is coming out, I think, next week. And, like, that's one that I'm not going to renew for, but I like Timothy Olyphant so much that if I still had it, I would probably try and sit through it, even though that's not his best
I
work. But
just can't make myself watch one of these Timothy Olyphant things that everyone likes. I've seen him so like be terrible in too many things that I don't know if I can give him a chance.
Oily fan.
it's Justified. Justified is it should still be on Amazon. It's been on for forever.
I just like,
But-
am I gonna
it's-
watch that and see his fucking wooden ass acting in Die Hard or Hitman or what was that other? What's that one where he was in with Kevin Smith that was fucking terrible?
That would be Die Hard.
No. Right, they were both in that one too. Well, this one, Kevin Smith, like it's a
Kevin Smith
it's a
was in
romantic
Die Hard?
comedy, and Kevin Smith plays the fat best friend, and or he might have actually been the gay best friend. I don't know. Either way,
I have no idea.
Timothy Olyphant was the love interest in it. I cannot imagine him being a good actor. It's the problem.
I don't know if he was just like, I will give you that none of those are good. And maybe it was just a matter of he needed the right role, because as a fucking Southern cowboy, even though he's not Southern, but like he's in the South.
And cowboys aren't Southern. They're Western.
Yeah, but yeah. But it's not like he's got an accent or anything. He goes down there and he's basically the sheriff. I think he's literally the sheriff.
Well-
But he's like the out west sheriff dealing with the Dixie Mafia, and God, he's fucking rad. And Walton Goggins is in it, and he's fucking rad. You need to give that a chance.
Walton Goggins is always good, but I mean, you're not the only person who's a big Timothy Olyphant fan. Like all the TVGP guys love him, and I just don't even want to give him a chance. Like I dislike the other stuff I've seen him in so much.
I looked
but-
him up, and I can't think of a single thing I've seen him in.
Did you see Die Hard? Did you see that movie with Kevin Smith?
What was it? Die Hard 4?
Yes.
He's
He's the guy who figures out how to turn off the electricity. Remember, he's controlling stoplights and shit from that van.
I remember the guy. I remember the character, but I don't remember what he looks like. That's
That was the
that's
one
how
where
much
Bruce
of an
Willis-
impression Die Hard 4 made on me.
Crashed a car into a helicopter. I think that was that one.
None of this matters.
God, that's a dumb fucking series.
Let's keep this
Anyway.
moving forward.
No. Die Hard 1 is awesome, and Die Hard 3 is awesome. Everything else is trash.
That's
You're
right.
thinking of the video games.
Jake, how about you ratchet up the conversation?
Ratchet and Clank is on PS Plus this month, and I just got a big new TV with HDR and 4K, even though I don't have a PS Pro or an Xbox One X, which I will refuse to not refer to as the Onyx, because it's still a better name. And the
Yeah.
vanilla PS4 supports HDR. So, because Ratchet and Clank also supports HDR, I want to try that out. This is the remake. I think it's a from the ground up remake of the original game, but it's been so long since I played that original first one that I couldn't really tell you how close to the jokes they're following. I don't know if they just re-recorded the lines or even if they had to re-record the lines. But it is fucking beautiful. Like it's been a long time since I played that game, and the aiming is a little weird. Like the gunplay, it's maybe I'm just because I didn't go into like the control mapping or anything. So maybe there's a button I just haven't come across yet. But it's sort of a weird kind of before there was a lock-on button, Dark Souls-ish kind of combat. And it seems like the game sort of infers who you're trying to target, but doesn't always lock on, but sometimes locks on. I don't know. I'm not super far into it yet. I'm like maybe an hour and a half. But I'm going to keep playing that because it's super fun. And if you have PS Plus, download
how does it look? You lit up this whole thing with talking about 4K and stuff. How does it look?
Here's the funny thing. I won't know what it looks like on 4K because the vanilla PS4, there we go, doesn't push out 4K. It does push out.
I thought you just said it did.
The Pro pushes out 4K and HDR. This one pushes out HDR if the game supports it.
Oh.
And it's funny you mention it because I was just thinking today I need to go check. I don't know if the HDR is actually turned on or not because it seems like in most games you have to go in and tell it to turn on.
It's an option.
So I think it is because my TV goes like, "Hey, you're in HDR land" when it turns the game on. But I don't know if you need to also change it in the options or something. But man, that it looks
just
real
use
fucking
a regular.
pretty.
You
Real
just use a
smooth.
regular HDMI cable for that. There's no special cable.
Well, it told me it wasn't. So I was using my old cables. My TV said, "Hey, you don't have any 4K shit or HDR shit plugged in." And so I looked online, and it turns out that you do need to get new cables.
Mm.
And I don't know if that's a crock of shit, but I got new cables, and now it works. So I don't know if this is one of these AV nerds things where like, no, you really need the cables. Because it really seemed to not work at all with the old one. So I guess so. The first one on Amazon, they were like, yeah, buy this $400 cable. And I was like, fuck you.
Yeah, that's more than your pit. It's more than the PlayStation.
Yeah. So I went to Monoprice and got two for $13.
There you go.
So it's very, very pretty, and it's effectively free this month. So go play that. It's very fun.
Cool. So I watched two movies, one of which is a kind of a, biography, and the other's a documentary on like the real person. But they're both Netflix originals. The first one's called A Futile and Stupid Gesture, and then the documentary is called Drunk, Stoned, Brilliant, Dead.
Now these are related, right?
Yes. So they're both about basically the startup of the National Lampoon magazine, and then their first foray into films with Animal House and whatever the golf movie is called that I never remember the name. Caddyshack.
National Lampoon was Caddyshack, huh? I don't think I ever knew that.
No, it was not, but it was a lot of the same people that made it.
Oh, okay.
So, like, basically, National Lampoon was started by a guy named Kenny Beard. Kenny. What's his name? It's Kenny and Beard. Damn it! I opened this page and it didn't give me his first fucking name. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Basically, like it starts with like the biography starts with them in college because they both were in Harvard and they were running the Harvard Lampoon magazine in college.
Wait,
and then
I bet their parents are real excited about their career paths.
seriously.
Whoa.
So the like basically they left there and then started the magazine and got permission to do it, and like the magazine like it's kind of neat because it's a did you know about like the 70s comedy scene for a large part, and like a lot of the people who got their start at the magazine were basically Saturday Night Live's starting cast. Like they had a magazine and then they had a radio show, and the radio show had the likes of like Bill Murray and Gilda Radner and the dead guy. I say that half the
that
people
one
in
dead
this
guy.
film are dead.
John Belushi?
Yeah, Belushi. And it's neat. Like none of the actors really look like any of the people they're playing, so thankfully the film kind of stops and points out who's who. But like this Kenny guy, I should find his name real quick. But he basically dies in his early 20s. But he was like best friends with Chevy Chase, for instance. And one of the funny things I thought they did was the guy who plays Chevy Chase in the movie is the guy from Community, the main guy, Joel.
Chevy
Weird.
Chase?
Like allegedly Chevy Chase and the
Joe
guy,
McHale.
huh? Joe McHale.
That's his name.
Evidently,
Joel.
those two people actually hated each other, but I had no idea Joe McHale was supposed to be Chevy Chase.
Well, I've heard Chevy Chase is kind of a dick.
Yeah. Well, in the movie, like you have Joe McHale, like basically Kenny's parents were telling him like how much of a piece of shit he is and how much they wish his dead brother was still alive, kind of thing. And then Chevy Chase like walks into the room and then like goes for a wine glass and then falls over and like rips like starts doing his stupid fucking physical comedy thing in front of him. But it was actually kind of funny this time because it's at like the worst moment possible. But I think it's a really neat movie. I think it's real fascinating to see. I think backing it up with the documentary to kind of see where the movie fibbed a bit and went in different directions is neat. The documentary is also cool because you get to see. I mean, they interview Chevy Chase in it, and like he gets fairly emotional over the thing because that was his best friend. But they did a lot of drugs and stuff, and his friend went to Hawaii and then mysteriously kind of died. But
Like fell into a volcano mysteriously, or
like I think they found his body dead out somewhere in Hawaii, kind of thing.
they usually don't say we found his body that he then used to stand up and walk home.
Yeah. They
Found his alive body
Yeah.
swimming in the pool.
whatever. But I think it's a neat little set of things. I'm not a National Lampoon fan at all. I just thought it was interesting, and I hope they kind of do more. Like I'd love to see one on like Monty Python and that Canadian troupe that Dave Foley was from, and like it'd be cool to see lots of documentaries about these people and kind of how they came into the world and stuff. But I recommend it. It's a neat watch. It doesn't take much of your time, and watch A Futile and Stupid Gesture first if you want, and unless just the documentary interests you more. And if you like the movie, then go check out the documentary. Both are entertaining. Both have plenty of profanity and jokes and occasional nudity and stuff in it. I guess the National Lampoon magazine back in the day like had tits in it constantly, which I was not aware of. But
Constant tits.
Was that like a Mad Magazine type thing, or are we talking like live pictures and interviews and shit?
it was like a Mad magazine. Like they would just
So they were drawing cartoon tits?
no, they had real pictures in there. It was a mix, really. Like it was just a bunch of
some drawn tits, some real
Yeah.
ones.
It was just lots of jokes, like whether in advertisement form, whether in whatever. Like, evidently one of the guys there was a comedian guy who I wasn't familiar with at all, but I really want to check him out afterwards because he's a fucking lunatic. But like, he would do all these really extreme political things. I should have written down an example, but I didn't. So, but
Are we talking about shit? What was that Thomas Paine treatise where they said the poor should just eat their kids?
oh yeah,
Like that kind of stuff? Or are we talking like political cartoons, or what do you mean?
both really. Like this is like National Lampoon magazine. It was like picture jokes. They had a thing, I guess, with the staff where they would have real pictures of the staff and do like a little comic skit with them, and that is usually where like a lot of the nudity was. But I honestly, you should just. I did not write down any examples. I recommend you just go check it out. So.
Okay, well, I have like 6 hours to do that. Honestly, and I don't know that it's going to stick. I'm just trying it to see how much I use Netflix for, like, hey, I'm going to bed and want some noise. I'm going to turn on Mystery Science Theater because it will make me fall asleep. Or, Nova. I'll put on Nova, except that's on Prime. versus actually watching stuff, because I go through my list and I'm like, even the stuff I put in there wanting to watch, I can't get myself to sit down and actually want to watch it. You know, it's stuff that I would have up in the other screen while I was playing Into the Breach, which I'm still mad about. I forgot to bring up last show. The quote is once more unto the breach. So Into the Breach bugs me every time I hear it. But so that kind of stuff, I'm not sitting there and watching it. So I don't know what I'm using this thing for. So, anyway. So moving on to something else I streamed that I'm going to recommend you probably can skip is Penny Dreadful. Have I ever brought this up?
No, my wife liked that show a lot. I know some
my
other
wife
people
watched
that
it
really
too.
liked it.
So I went into it thinking it was only 2 seasons. You know, I must have talked about this because Billy Piper from the first season of Doctor Who when it first came back, the real good-looking Scottish singer, is a redhead and is naked like all the time in that first season. So I
Is that
must
the one
have.
with Josh Hartnett?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So this is basically like the shorthand is, what if the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen were a drama and not steampunk? Is kind of the shorthand because it uses all those
Yeah.
public domain. You know,
What if we took all the fun out of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
right?
Well,
right.
then you'd be the original comic book, which was way better than that stupid movie.
Boy, man, how did they fuck that up? Anyway, it's like a Victorian London. We're talking probably like 1890s, 1880s, around there. Josh Hartnett's in it. He's like a Western, gunslinger doing road shows in England. He's in it. The Bond girl from the first Daniel Craig 007 movie, I think, is the other lead. Is that the right person, guys?
I have
Whatever.
no idea.
Billy Piper's in it, and then I think that's probably the end of anyone you would recognize. I think. I can't think anyone else. But it's cool, the first episode they're chasing vampires, except they're kind of not what you would expect vampires. They're sort of like a little bit more Blade 2, where they're weird creatures that are kind of demon looking with like carapaces and shit. And as they sort of go through that first season, they meet this doctor who is trying to bring the dead back to life, and maybe he's done it. And then there's this lady who maybe talks to the devil, and then there's this guy with this picture that he hides. It ages instead of he does. And sort of they're using all these public domain figures and basically telling the, sort of that kind of same fanfic, so to speak, that we've been doing for the last, however, 30-ish years. That seems to be kind of popular. So you have like Dorian Gray and werewolves show up at one point, and there's a Dr. Jekyll shows up at some point. Although I don't know if they call him that, because in the last episode of season 3, he calls him, like, Frankenstein calls him Lord Hyde or something like that. It's supposed to be this big reveal, and it's like we all knew exactly who that fucking was like 20 hours ago. But the first season is very cool, and they set up a very cool world, and kind of they're using characters in interesting ways, and it's made with a good budget, and even though you can tell it's CGI, when they use it well, and it's genuinely spooky and well written. You do have to have the subtitles on at some point just because of the accents. And I started watching season 2. Boy, this was probably 6 months ago, and just was making it half an episode at a time. And I thought, you know what? I want to see what they do with this. I want to see how the story ends. It's only one more season. It's like 9 more episodes. I'm just going to put my head down and run through this over the course of the next, 14 months or something. Well, then I found out there was a season 3, and they go to fucking Arizona for like 2 episodes, which ruins the whole, like, Victorian London vibe.
You know what else was ruined by going to Arizona suddenly? Transformers 2.
Well, and much like Transformers 2, I mean, this is, you know what? We could have saved a lot of time, and I could have just said this is basically Transformers. Because, I mean, the first one was really, pretty phenomenal. You get a good idea, with the ambition and what they could be able to do with the Transformers. But 2, man, they really hooked it to the left, and
Man, and like I know that you have to suspend belief, right? Because these are transforming robots that turn into Earth cars, even though they were made light years away, right? So you're already suspending belief. But when they walked out of the Smithsonian Institute in Washington D.C. into the Boneyard in Arizona, like they walked out the door and they were there.
well, Arizona
lost.
is
I
where
was
people
done.
and series and movies all go to die. Everything goes to die in Arizona.
And I mean, Shia LaBeouf's acting in the second one. I mean, in the first
Don't
one he
care
said
about
no,
that.
no, 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 a lot better than the second one. I mean, it's just he made a real dramatic and emotional arc in that first one. And oh wait, no, he didn't, because that movie's shit too.
Right, I
It was
understand.
weird that he had a
but
bag on his head the whole second.
they didn't. They didn't just take a boner to geography. I hate that. I hate it, and that's what turned me off.
I found his acting to be transformative. Anyway, Penny Dreadful. It is, I think, both on Netflix and Amazon Prime currently. Watch that first season, because it's pretty cool, and then sort of just treat it like you would Dexter, where you decide where this show ends. Like, I never watched the last season of Parks and Rec. As far as I'm concerned, there isn't one.
It's really
'cause-
good.
I haven't seen it. Did they try to do like The Office and go without Steve Carell? Like, did they try to do something without Amy Poehler?
They did a 3 years later. Here's where everybody's at, and I got 2 minutes into the episode, and I was like, wait, they did a whole nother season where it's like the gang getting back together. Fucking click, no.
Lame.
It's
Yeah.
really good. Like that last season is like a really, really good send off. Like it takes about basically at the beginning of the season, Amy Poehler and Nick's character. Why am I not remembering any of their names? It doesn't matter. But basically, they don't like each other through the first episodes. But once they make up, like in the third episode or something like that, it's a great send off.
Leslie Knope, and Ron Swanson.
Yeah, that's it. Like those two characters are the lifeblood of that show, right? And
Right.
so those first couple episodes were a little hard to make it through, but these are half-hour episodes, and by episode 4, when they're friends again, the show's fucking awesome again. And that's a really good last season. I don't understand
But
why
they
Ron
anyone
wrapped
thinks
it
Swanson's
up.
an
otherwise.
American hero.
They already wrapped it up so perfectly. Like in Dexter. Not mind you,
This is nothing like Dexter.
This
Dexter
is 7 years old at this point, so I can spoil
Dexter
it.
got worse and worse.
Dexter did not get worse and worse, but regardless,
It's so
it did not as early as you're talking about. But if they had ended it at the end of, I think it was season 3, was that the John Lithgow one?
think that
Where
was
he
season
comes back to
4?
his apartment and his kid is sitting in his mom's blood, just like he and his brother did. There's where you end the show. That's where that show ends. And yeah, they had a couple of okay seasons after that, but when you wrap something up that perfectly, you're done.
I
And
stopped
that's the
watching
thing with Parks
Dexter
and Rec.
because the episodes were straight out bad. Parks and Rec, I think, had 2 episodes that weren't as fantastic as the rest of the episodes, and then all the ones that followed after it were fantastic. So I don't think there's any real comparison to be made between the two.
Whatever. As far as I'm concerned,
Whatever,
I watched
John.
the one show too long, and I should have ended it when the show ended it well, and I was not going to be bitten again when it came to Parks and Rec, so when they did their awesome ending of the season, I said, I'm not letting you bite me again, and I don't care if you thought they were awesome. I'm going to stand on my fucking principle and be stubborn and obstinate and remain ignorant.
That's
my hot
the
take
American
on
way.
Parks and Rec.
That is I could make political jokes, but I'll abstain.
It's a Penny Dreadful. Give it a shot.
Okay. Yeah. After that stellar
Did we convince you?
that's still a recommendation. So this last fall, I picked up a Super Nintendo Classic. Had a buddy basically sell me for cost. And
so he didn't like it then.
he got 2 of them with the intention of selling one, and then never sold it. And then
Well, he did sell it.
I don't want to badmouth your friend, but that's a dick move.
well, he did that with the first one too. He got a couple of the first one, the NES Classic, and managed to sell actually those. But he lives out in Jinx or Glenpool, so he's near places that would feasibly have them the first day because he never pre-ordered. He just showed up and got them miraculously.
I'm real glad that
right.
we didn't skip a week, with local geography updates. I think that's a
that's
really
good.
important part of our
That's
show.
good. That's good. Well,
It's not
Glenpool,
Jinx, Oklahoma,
if you've
by the
never
way,
heard
it's
it,
Jinx America.
if you've never heard of Glenpool, Oklahoma, is because it is nowhere, and we're using that logic. If there's a GameStop in nowhere, they probably have a copy of whatever's sold out.
Ah, okay.
So, so I've been playing SNES Classic a bunch lately. I've been playing a little Super Metroid, a little Earthbound,
Are
and
you playing Super Metroid with a guide, or are you just running around in there?
I'm just running around.
Did you own a Super NES back in the day? Like, do you remember where you're supposed to go and stuff, or are you just going into this blind?
This is really my first time playing. Like, I think I played through the intro on emulator before on Super Metroid, but this is my first actual attempt to get through the game.
Okay.
So I probably will not. I know at the end of the thing, she takes off a part of her suit for however fast you finish it. So
Ooh.
Now,
it'll
this
be what
is-
it is.
This is a Metroidvania, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is. I honestly didn't actually even realize how much of a Metroidvania this was till I started playing it. Like, I know it was Metroid, but I thought it'd be more like the NES Metroid. Like, this has save points, like, which was a pleasant discovery because I don't know why I didn't think Super Nintendo games didn't have save points. They obviously do. The Final Fantasies are on there. Like,
When the hardware has actual save states, if that does not, right?
yeah. And I haven't used the save state thing yet. I've been meaning to, but anyway, I'm liking Super Metroid. Earthbound's a neat game that I guess I'm gonna fully play because, like on Picking Up the Pixels, the RPG podcast I do, Mina got way too excited that I was playing it and is now coaching me through that game. So,
Yeah,
Like-
the people who are into that series are way into that series.
like, there's a lot of charm there, but it's definitely an old game. But so the thing I've been meaning to do, and I finally did it actually before this cast. It took me a half hour to locate the games I wanted to do it with, and it took me maybe 20 minutes to actually do it. Is add more games to the SNES Classic.
Now, where did you buy these games?
Well,
What websites sell these? And are they expensive?
they are my backup copies.
Okay.
For the ones that I could legally get in the U.S., they are backup copies, and for the ones that you just can't get anymore, then they're whatever. It doesn't matter. But point being is, you download this program called I don't know what I did with the folder.
No, we're not. No, we're not doing this.
What?
If you want to if you want to add games to your SNES Classic, there are places on the internet to figure out how to, instead of us giving step-by-step instructions and opening ourselves up to lawsuits.
I don't think we're opening ourselves
Who's gonna sue
up
us?
to lawsuits. Like, if Hackshi is, you just download the program Hackshi, and then you run it, and you add games. Like, there's nothing to it. Like, it's really easy. Like, I tested it out before the podcast. I have a copy of Shin Megami Tensei 1 on my phone, for example, which I purchased through the iTunes store. So I found an English patch for it and, got it on the SNES Classic. So
everybody, come back in 2 weeks. We're going to teach you how to build bombs.
Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ.
The best
You did not do well
Dark
in
web
math with the
sources.
equal sign, did you?
for yellow cake, uranium.
That's such a weird. You know what? No, I don't want to get into that. Because the one-off joke is probably okay. Anything more than that, probably end up on a list. So.
Oh, I put it too far?
It was the next question I was going to ask. That would be like actual info seeking question, and we're not gonna do that. So what else did you play in this thing, John?
I really just wanted to talk about adding games to it. So, that was actually my whole point, was just how quick and easy it was. But I didn't realize that this would create an issue. So we
John,
can
I do
move
have
on
more
from
of
it.
I'm interested in getting one because I had an SNES back in the day and I loved it. Are the games just loaded on there on an SD sort of thing, and you just turn it on and pick from a menu what you want to play? Is that how it works? Or
I assume
you
it's
don't,
just
you don't put the cartridges in.
no. I assume it's just a flash drive
flash
inside it.
memory.
I haven't opened it up or looked at the components, but
Well, but when you turn it on, it's just like, hey, what game do you want to play? And then you pick
Yeah.
one and you play it.
yeah, it's got a nice little menu system. You cruise around and it'll preview some of the games. I will say if you pick one up, go to Best Buy and then buy the cable extensions because the cords it comes with are like 3 feet long.
I heard that, yeah.
How did they not fix that?
Why didn't they just make wireless controllers?
Because it's fucking Nintendo, and they will pass on every single cost they possibly can to you.
Yeah, I wish they had done wireless too.
Closer and closer to being in the market for a Switch. It was either going to be this TV or the Switch, and obviously the TV is a little bigger, so I went with that. But just because I've made some changes in my day-to-day spending that like I have more money available. So like in a couple months I might buy a Switch. And just looking into it, I'm getting pissed again because I saw a deal where it was like $270 for one. And I was like, well, that's a pretty good fucking price. And they were like, well, yeah, and then it's another $70 for the Pro Controller, and then it's however much extra for what other accessories did you need for that, John?
Does the Switch still come with no game?
I
You
didn't
have to buy
buy
a game.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
right,
do.
no game.
I didn't buy any of the accessories, so like it has I think I don't remember 16 or 24 gigs of space on it just natively.
That's not very much.
So
It's not enough for Doom.
well, and I don't trust Nintendo digitally, so like the only games I bought digitally from them are games that I couldn't get otherwise, like Blaster Master Zero, and that was only $10, and it's like, well, I got my time with this game, so not a big deal if I don't.
So even down to $270, I still wasn't getting out the door for less than $400, and it's like, God damn it, guys! Why do you make me want to hate you? They did the same thing with the SNES.
I did buy the extra charger from Best Buy. It was like an extra dock, a USB cable, and a AC adapter for like $40, just because I wanted one to take with me to places, so I didn't have to undo it for my TV anytime, you know. And it also gives the potential for like if I install any like Jack in the Box games on it, which are available on Switch, then I can just be at a friend's house and be like, "Oh, you don't have this? Well, guess what I do?" And just
Do you
plug it
mean
into the TV.
Jackbox?
Well, guess what, motherfucker?
Yeah, Jackbox, whatever
Okay.
they're called.
I didn't know if that was like a genre that I just wasn't aware of.
You know,
Like
the
games where stuff
Jackbox
surprises you.
Jackbox party packs, whatever the fuck they are. They do surprise you. So,
But it's always a pleasant surprise.
yeah.
Okay, well, moving on from outright stealing stuff, I wanted to bring up some stuff that I should have never
How
bought.
can you steal something that's not being sold anywhere?
Moving on to stuff that's it's like the thing in Arrested Development, you know, the frozen banana that won't kill you. That's what I'm doing here. So I wanted to talk about 3 games that I went on kind of a downloading spree the last couple of weeks, and I went through my Steam library in the opposite of what I'm usually doing, which is trying to clear that fucking thing down. I thought, you know what? There's like 12 games that I just bought and never played in the grays here. I need to. Some of these still sound cool. I need to try some of them. The one I played the most of I got 3 of them. First one is Hand of Fate. Did either of you guys give any significant time to that game?
Nope.
Never touched
Never
it.
heard of it.
So it is kind of a roguelite dungeon crawler sort of thing, but it's a card game. So like there'll be a map of cards that this dude has, and you know they'll like that's your map, and you're trying to find the stairs down to the next floor, so to speak. And you know you go down 3 or 4 floors, and then there's a boss, and you have to fight the boss and beat the boss, and then you start over with a new mission. And then you do like 10 or 12 of these things, and then you have to fight the dealer at the end. And every time you land on the next card, you can sort of choose which way you want to go. There will be an event. You know, they flip open the card, and you know maybe it's a fight with some dudes where you then go into the card, like it zooms into the card, and like a la Magic the Gathering, you are now fighting in the card, and it's like kind of B-level Arkham City combat. It's the combat flow sucks. It flat out sucks. And I was just kind of trying to force myself to play through this just to get it off the pile and say I played it, because the hooks that are in it are pretty cool. There's sort of a choose-your-own-adventure feel to it. It's sort of FTL-ish. When, you go into a new card, there's the scenario. You have to decide what you want to do. Do you use some of your resources to help out this lady, and then she gives you a thing, or do you just skip her altogether? Or, the cards all have interesting choices like that, at least for the first few playthroughs. But goddamn, that last boss fight is hard to the point of being unfair. And when your combat mechanics are as basic as that game's are, and you don't have interesting stuff to do, you just have to throw more at the player to make it a quote-unquote end boss fight. And after banging my head against it for like 3 nights, and probably spending 4.5 hours on the same level kind of thing, so like I would pick this, last boss, the dealer, from like, let's call it a mission list, and then I have to go through 3 or 4 floors of this quote-unquote card dungeon to actually try to fight him. And by the time you get to him, you're either down to nothing, or maybe you didn't get good weapons along the way. And it's sort of the same problem you had with FTL, which is that last Rebel flagship is so goddamn hard that it makes me want to not play the rest of the game. So that got deleted, and as interesting as that is, I can't recommend it to anyone. I think I probably paid $5 for it, and that was too much. The next one is Legendary. If you guys saw the box art for this game, you would probably recognize it. Does it ring any bells? It was a 2008 game.
Nope.
There's a bunch of like griffins flying around a city, like a modern city on the box. So it's a first-person shooter, and I remember thinking that concept was really cool back in the day when it came out. It came out in 2008. And the first thing you do, so you're a thief, and you're working for this shady dude or corporation or something. You're breaking into a museum to get this box. Well, it turns out that it's Pandora's box, and that when you open it up, it releases all these mythical creatures, like all the creatures that men and have told in tales from the dawn of time. Like, those are all real, and they were all in this box, and you just done fucking let them out. And God, it is fucking terrible. I was seriously questioning whether it was I couldn't remember whether it was an original Xbox game or if it was an Xbox 360 game, because that's how bad it looked. It came out the same year as BioShock.
Oh, 08 probably was 360.
So it had to be 360. Kind of early-ish 360, but not that early.
That was 2 or 3 years in.
The port for the PC is terrible. The weapon, now granted, I only played it for about 25 minutes because that's all I could handle. Because it was uglier than the devil's ballsack. I'm sorry, nutbag.
Right.
The control was bad. The enemies were boring. And they give you this BioShock-style magic left-hand power. And I guess all it can do is heal you? Or, like, push enemies away a little. And I was reading in the forums, like, that's all that thing ever does. Like, it just never gets upgraded. So stay the hell away from Legendary. For $1, I would say it's too much, because the bandwidth and your time is neither is worth putting into this thing.
Right, yeah, you have to consider that.
Lastly, I had a game I thought I was on board with. John, you convinced me to get it, and I was really kind of into it when I was first playing it. And that's Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I played it the right way. I played it with headphones. The sound design is awesome. It's very pretty. Like, the mocap is great, even if I think it's overacted a little bit sometimes. It's, by and large, very great. The voice acting is all good. I love almost everything they did with it. I am never fucking playing that thing again because it is so cumbersome. The combat is super cumbersome, even for like a Dark Souls, be patient when you pick your battles kind of thing. And the traversal is cumbersome. The puzzles are all sort of hidden environment kind of things.
Like cumbersome to your girl.
Uh-huh. I'm just going to let that hang out there. Your late 90s pop music references.
To the world.
Just trying to find these shapes that are in the environment. The first couple are cool, but then they have to start hiding them, and they kind of run out of clever ways to hide them, and it turns into what I think is a sort of a tedious, like a find the hidden object puzzle in like a highlights magazine kind of thing. And just, I got to this fight, John, I think you were talking about this on our last year's favorites cast, and you were saying that you got to some fight where you had to fight like 4 dudes at once.
The bridge.
And that was your... No, I made it past the bridge.
Well, no,
The
I
bridge was
beat the
actually good
game.
sequence.
I beat the game. The bridge was the most frustrating fight for me.
So I think I'm right after the bridge, because you go into, you cross the bridge and you go into like this, it's not a keep, but like kind of a sort of bridge tower sort of thing. And it's...
I mean, you're at the end of the game.
Am I really?
Yeah.
I looked it up and I thought I had like 3 more story beats to get through, and I was like,
I mean, there might be, but it's all. I mean, like, are you in the? I remember it being kind of this weird, whitish, kind of trippy
like a big
area.
square room. Yeah.
And I mean, if you pass the big bridge where you fight like 12 dudes,
Right.
Then,
Like the Dragon Age-ish bridge.
yeah, like then you're pretty much at the end. Like you basically battle that way for a while, and then they power you up, and you battle that way some more, and then it's over, and that's the end of the
I
game.
didn't. I must be in the one spot where they are waiting, like they're gonna have you fight one more battle before they power you up, because I just their combat system cannot handle what they tried to throw at you. And so, like the system's not sophisticated enough to give you enough options to make that anything more than frustrating. And so I just fucking Alt F4'd it and was like, nope, you're done. You're never coming back. But
Yeah.
I guess now I can just watch 5 minutes on YouTube and be fine.
Yeah, like after I mean, it's probably an hour worth of content, like with all the cutscenes and everything, but it's probably like 20 minutes of gameplay. Yeah, I like the combat as long as you're only fighting 2 to 3 guys at once. And like once they start throwing like just dozens of guys at you, or where you're fighting 4 guys and one of them, like they're all kind of different effect type characters.
Like stuff doesn't, what you're used to using doesn't work on this guy, and then this guy, like Batman style, like you have
Yeah.
to. Excuse me. You have to jump over this guy and hit him in the back.
Yeah,
Like
this
that
guy you
kind
got
of
to kick before you start hitting him, and this guy you got to dodge because he's too big to move around, and and it's like I like the basis of the combat. I just as you said, they put you in too many situations where that system is not fun because of the quantity of things you have to deal with at once. So.
Yeah, so that's a bummer because there was so much else to like about that game, and it beat me. I got like
Hey,
throw the controller angry at it.
Is the Blood Lake before or after the bridge? Like that's before,
was-
isn't it?
The Blood Lake is before, and the Blood Lake is pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. I remember being
would vacation
frustrated
at Blood
there
Lake.
too. But like, I mean, my key to getting through that was just using like anytime I ran into an enemy that wasn't one of the normal guys, then I just turned on my whatever that extra ability is that slows everything down and kind of lets you cut through everyone's defenses. I used
Yeah,
that.
I guess I should have. Maybe I waited too long to come back to it and kind of forgot that was there.
Yeah, like I think that is key to getting through to it. Like I can't see how you got through that bridge thing and then found a more. I mean, I guess if I had died anywhere after the bridge, I probably would have been frustrated too. But I really thought that bridge was the worst of it. But yeah, no, I agree. It's
And
it's
I gave
an
it an honest
unfairly
chance, man.
difficult game, But
I gave it an honest chance because look, I've beat all the Dark Souls games. I'm used to not being good at shit and just throwing myself at it until I beat it. And the thing was, when I got to like the 9th try, and I wasn't having any fun or making any progress in the fight, I just said, "Fuck it!" Like this game, this term is thrown around so much, and I think it's generally an entitled dickbag term. But the game doesn't value your time, and I don't know.
I don't know that I agree with that assessment. I understand why you would feel that way after retrying that one part, But like
What-
I
and
spent
what I'm
like
saying-
8 or
I'm
9
not saying
hours
that's-
in the game, and it told a fairly concise story. So like to me, that is valuing my time. Like what is not
And you're
valuing my
totally
time
right.
is yeah.
You're totally right. I'm trying to say it felt. I was getting that gut reaction feeling going back into it, and like whether that was valid or not, because in this case it wasn't. The fact that I was feeling that way made me not want to play that
Yeah.
fucking thing anymore. So
I can understand getting frustrated enough to want to not want to play it. Like I think your criticisms are entirely valid,
but
even
it was-
if they
you
were
know what? I'm
incorrect
glad
the
I got
rest
it.
of the episode.
I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I played through what I did of it. I wish
Valid
that
but
piece would
wrong.
have been easier, and I could have, cleared that last hurdle, but I guess not. So
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think the ending of that game is all that important. I think kind of the journey to it is more important. And it's not to say that the ending is bad. I just think it's kind of insubstantial to the rest of it.
Yeah.
But
So leaving every game that's been out all the way back to 1991 that we've been talking about today, Randy, why don't you tell us what's coming out in 2018?
Let's do it. And like for the whole of 2018, or just like
Yeah, just go. Take the rest of the episode.
coming up.
I'm gonna go make some lunch, probably dinner too, and just go.
I've seen so on March 20th, Sea of Thieves comes out, and I'm a little confused because I've seen Penny Arcade talking about this like crazy. I guess they were talking about the demo.
Sea of Thieves.
they've done a lot of beta tests on it since it's a multiplayer only game kind of thing.
Yeah, betas. Right. Okay.
So
All right. Anyway,
I'll-
well, that's out on March 20th.
everyone's real
Attack
positive
Titan-
on it.
Attack
Are
on
they?
Titan 2. Oh. Okay.
I don't know that there's anything to do in that game. It sure doesn't look like it.
You know, for better or worse, I trust the Penny Arcade guys. If it's on PC, I might try it.
It is.
Yeah.
It's it sounds like a game that would be hard to find a point in, but like I feel like a lot of the podcasts I've listened to have like talked positively about it. I worked with a guy who played some of the beta on PC and he loved it. He thought it was great.
Well, it's like what's the point to Minecraft? But Minecraft is super popular.
Yeah.
I guess.
You
I
know,
mean, it's a
It's
thing
what
where
you want it to be.
I think it's you and three friends all need to work together to pilot this pirate ship because the guy who's steering can't see and the guy who can see doesn't know where you're going, so the map guy in the basement has to talk to the one guy who has to tell the guy to steer.
This is very much like that tabletop game I was telling you about, John, Captain Sonar.
Mm.
If that's the case, it's very much like that,
Gotcha.
So
which was fun. So
And I'm sure that these folks are having an awesome experience with their coworkers or friends, and when they're all playing together and having fun, and like I don't know that. I mean, my friends list are basically empty in real life and Xbox Live, and I
we've
don't
been doing
know
this
that
podcast together for over like 2 years, and I don't think we're friends on PS4.
Yes, we are.
Oh, we are?
Yes, we are.
Well, then
Aren't
I don't
we?
know what your name is. I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, that's I guess good then.
Well, I mean, you don't get a line, do you, Jake?
Yeah, I think I'm set to be offline, so it might not even matter.
That might be it. Anyway,
So, like, in that having experience with your friends, working together and communicating and stuff, like, in that respect, it sounds fun. But as far as something that, like, actually has objectives, I don't know that I see, like... And maybe
But
it's just
you,
because I haven't seen it yet. There's no apparent, like, loot treadmill or story
Yeah,
or...
there's no
you
leveling
make-
up.
you
I think
make
it's
your
just
objective.
getting a better boat, but
Right, yeah. You make your objective.
I don't know.
And
It's
a lot of
it's
people are way into that.
it's one of those deals where like if I ever sign up for that Microsoft Game Access or whatever the hell it's called, their $10 a month get our games thing, like
Game
I
Pass.
will totally check it out. But I'm probably not going to buy it.
The
Okay.
art looks cool. I like the art style.
But
It's sort of
I've just
like-
heard a lot of positive things about it. It's enough to make me
I
really
have-
curious about it.
I have two, John.
I think you can shoot people out of cannons.
You
I
can,
think I saw that.
you can,
That's all I need to know.
and like if
That's,
you get your
basically-
boat
I mean,
too,
that's basically unending ammo, right? That's infinite ammo.
you can get your boat too close to shore, and it'll fucking get stuck, and you can go rob other people's boats, and
What's
Like-
that called? It's not beaching. Anyway,
Piracy.
no. When your boat, like, you're not on the beach, you're still in the water, but your draft depth is such that you're hitting the bottom. Anyway.
Yeah.
Also on March 20th, Attack on Titan 2. I guess that's season 2 or
That's a game, yo.
That's a sequel.
it's a game. Okay.
Like the first game
Going
was
out
supposed.
on,
No, sorry.
basically everything.
First one was supposed to be good. I'm still
Was it?
curious about it, and I heard the second one improves on everything that the first one did. So
I don't remember hearing super awesome press on the last one. I think Metacritic had this at like low 70s, which is about what I'd expect for
yeah, I mean
a
it's
game based on that series.
it's a niche property.
Yeah.
I mean it's
I
gonna
don't
be like a Dynasty Warriors style game to a
Attack on
degree.
Titan seems like it. Attack on Titan seems like it lends itself very well to a video game.
Yeah. So I don't know.
March 27th, Far Cry 5.
So who wants to go to Montana?
I have Far Cry 4, and I played the intro, and then left, and immediately got killed by a jaguar, and I didn't play it again.
Well, at least it wasn't one of those goddamn birds in that game. Those things are the worst.
That's what happened to me. I was like sneaking through this little town, like, ooh, I got to get away from the bad guy. I'm gonna be quiet. Like all these guys are part of his team. I'm being quiet, and then a goddamn jungle cat just ate me. And so
Yeah.
I was like, this game is not for me.
I haven't beaten Far Cry 4, but I've played a good chunk of it and intend to finish it. It's still installed.
I remember seeing you, John, you and Joey played a lot of Far Cry 4.
Ish. Like we like
it's
for
a lot
me
together.
in terms of playing with a friend on a game, yes, I played a whole lot of Far Cry 4, but we probably only played like 5 or 6 hours together or something.
Oh, okay.
Like because we had like 3 or 4 sessions, I think, and I was a terrible person. Always wanted to kill the elephant he was riding in, and
Is there a funny, like the elephant face plants and the dude riding it goes flying animation?
I don't know. I just really like enjoy making other people playing the game with me not get whatever they want.
Oh,
He's just a dick, is all. You were a good teammate in Destiny.
Well, we couldn't troll each other in Destiny, so.
That's true. Maybe that's why. Okay. So Far Cry 5. Get it.
I just watched the church scene from the original Kingsman last night. He kills like 70 people in
Well,
that
at least.
3-minute scene.
Yeah.
I watched a trailer for it today, like a newer one.
For Kingsman.
For Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
While I was putting the list together, and it's this younger woman who like inherited the bar the family has been running for 2 generations or whatever, and she's talking about just what it was like, her family, and the cult took her brother and her mom, and then her dad just was never the same, and then they killed him, and like she's not going to put up with it. And it's pretty cool because she's sitting behind the bar like cleaning glasses or something, and then when she gets to the like, and this is my fucking town, they're not taking my bar, like she puts whatever she was cleaning up on the bar, and it turns out she was making Molotovs. It's like, okay, that's pretty cool. I still have 100% confidence that they're going to fuck this story up real bad, but I'm interested to see what kind of a dumpster fire it is.
I mean, it's just going to be a weird, goofy Far Cry story, I mean, none of these things are fucking... Like, they try and present themselves as deep and philosophical, and they never are. I mean...
Well, if they have a good opportunity to go like right-wing militia style up in Idaho, you know what I'm saying?
And that's what I think. It seemed like early on
That could
They
be
were
done well.
going to
I
do
don't
some
know
commentary on
they'll
that,
Do it well, but
and then they kind of veered off of that, maybe. So maybe they pushed out, but if that's the case, that was probably smart of Ubisoft, because I don't think they can tastefully make a commentary on gun
Well-
violence in America.
it could be done, but it's very hard.
You're not going to make a commentary on gun violence in America when your main character's thing is he's going around shooting everyone. I mean, that's
right,
not
yeah, that's true.
that's not going to be one of the topics of discussion.
And if you do try to do it, the people, like all of the 14-year-olds playing it, are going to miss it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you make it immoral, like this guy's not so good.
Like a treatise. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think that they quite have. Although, you know
No.
what? It
They're
seems
not
like they really
sophisticated.
they nailed some stuff in this most recent Assassin's Creed, from what I understand. So, I don't know. Maybe they did learn subtlety, but I'm not
Honestly,
holding my breath.
I'm sure it's going to be a real fun game. And what I learned from Far Cry 4 and owning it on PS4 is I never want to own another Far Cry game on a console again. because they are so much fucking better on PC. So I'm not gonna get this game until I've upgraded my computer.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But that's my problem now.
I know.
Because I have 2 screens on my
cards-
PC.
Video cards are so goddamn expensive.
Well, Bitcoin's sort of
I
falling
know.
apart, so maybe
Yeah.
that'll fix itself. But that's
I
my
know why,
that's my
hopefully.
conundrum now, because I have this not big giant, but a much larger TV that supports at least HDR for now, and eventually probably 4K when I get something that'll play it on there. But I
And the cable.
prefer to play all my stuff on the PC. So, like, in a sense, this was a very dumb purchase, but it was a great deal, and I got Amazon cash back for it, so it was even cheaper. But that's the thing. Like, do I want to go play Ratchet and Clank where I don't have something on the other screen where I can have Netflix on or something, and I'm just focused on playing the game where it looks pretty, or do I want that convenience? And that's the tough piece now.
All right, Far Cry 5, March 27th. Movies coming up. We got Pacific Rim Uprising. That's the sequel. March 23rd. I was not a huge fan of Pacific Rim. It was fine.
I really like that middle action scene in it a whole lot, and I really like the storyline for the female character in it. I really like a lot of things about the first Pacific Rim. I'm having a really
felt
hard
like-
time making myself interested in the sequel, though.
The first Pacific Rim, I think the reason I didn't like it, I went and saw it. I think the reason I didn't like it, it wasn't the action scenes. Like, that's cool. Robots fighting kaiju, I'm in. But or they're not even robots, right? They're mechs. Anyway, that's cool. The idea is cool. But all of the narratives were so stock. Like, they were just so standard and predictable, and that was boring to me.
The nicest thing I have to say about that is they did a really good job of making the robots kind of racist. Like, in their depiction, like if the
Asian
Irish one
robot
came
has
out,
a samurai
it was-
sword.
right? The Irish one comes out and it's like stumbling a little, is painted
Yeah.
green, and like, when they talk to the loudspeaker and it just goes and, like, everything was just like like the Olympic opening ceremonies for robots. Like,
You need
Yeah.
to, Jake.
That's
You need to.
stereotypes.
I know you're anti-anime. Just go watch like the first episode or 2 of G Gundam, and then you will realize that this is like it will recalibrate your racism barometer where mechs are concerned, because you will realize once you see the fucking French Rose Gundam and the Canadian Gundam that is a fucking
shoots maple
logger.
syrup.
Like he's
Yeah.
he's a fucking. He looks like a fucking lumberjack, and the
lesson-
Like,
Here.
don't get me wrong. I like that stuff. I think that stuff's awesome. I think it's awesome when Punch Out does it. Vodka Drunkinski was still very funny to me. Last time I heard it, like, that stuff to me is funny. But
The
that's
important
the
thing
only
to
thing
take-
that stands out about
The
Pacific
important
Rim.
thing to take away from this is that racism is not a uniquely American phenomena. It happens everywhere, and Japan is no exception.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim, go see it. March 29th, Ready Player One.
I don't know, man.
I think I'm into this one, guys.
You think you're into it?
I think I'm into it.
This is
That
Spielberg,
I
right?
keep seeing these trailers, and the Rush trailer I really loved. I saw this trailer. God, what did I see in the movie? Oh, Black Panther. There was one before Black Panther that, like, it seems dumb on its face. Everything about this seems dumb. I don't want to like it, and yet everything I see for it, I end up going, that looks pretty cool.
I know Joey's read it. Joey's liked it a lot.
I read the book. Like it's a pretty shallow tale for the most part, but like it's a lot about poor people in the future
When it's
trying
it's
not
just
to think
nostalgia
about
porn.
their reality, and it is nostalgia porn. It's a lot of nostalgia porn, and I thought it was a really fun book. Like it didn't change my views on the world or anything. It is definitely as they say, a fast food type book. The movie I don't
digestible.
necessarily have a lot of expectation for, but there's a lot of backlash towards that. Like half of my Twitter feed is fuck Trump, and the other half is fuck Ready Player One, and I don't get why everyone hates Trump. No, that's a joke. Like I don't understand like what this movie did to like deserve everyone just rebelling against like the
I think I
nostalgia
know.
porn angle. Although I did hear one really good joke on Twitter, which was someone was like, "I'm going to go to the movie, and every time something's on the screen, I'm going to lean over and tell the person who it is, but I'm going to say the wrong thing." So Iron Giant will be on the screen, and I'm going to be like,
That's Master Chief.
exactly.
You can tell because he's got the gray armor.
Iron Giant is one of the best movies ever made, by the way. Okay. Ready Player One.
I can
guys
tell you
can see it.
why people are so mad. Because when that book came out, it was kind of a novel concept. And since then, you have all these... Basically, there's a good chunk of the internet that is just devoted to nostalgia porn for clicks. And it's just also... I don't know, the predatory is
easy
the
and
word I'm looking for.
manipulative.
Manipulative.
It's the way I feel about This Is Us. Like, it's very clearly crafted to elicit an emotional response, not based on the story, not based on the characters going through stuff, but to do it. And so, like, the characters are tools that you use to elicit that emotional response in order to get ratings and sell the advertising. And that seems, and I'm a free market guy, but that seems kind of
It seems
shallow to me.
lazy. It seems
Yeah,
lazy. It seems cheap. And it seems...
it is lazy because it's so easy to do.
It seems valueless. Like, that's the problem everyone has with this. And that's the problem I have with this. And in spite of that, these trailers, I think, are still winning me over. So I guess they're getting my $42 or whatever it costs to go to a movie these days.
Well, I don't know about in Chicago, but
You can
Yeah,
get
it
a
could be
discount if you
$50.
just
go in the morning, man.
get
tell
the
them where I
AMC
am.
tattoo on your nuts, you know.
Yeah, just tell them where I am at any given moment. Do you hear that MoviePass is, like, the CEO was bragging about how the app tracks people even when they turn it off?
Great.
Bragging about it.
Like
Why does
seeming
AMC
pleased
need to
about
track
it.
people?
AMC doesn't... They're not the
But
ones
they
tracking
can,
people.
They can sell the data.
MoviePass
Right.
is tracking people and selling the data. And yeah, it's super fucking shady. But yeah, I guess you could just sell that or spend an inordinate amount of time just, turning location services on and off on your phone. But
Screw that. Anyway, I don't know if it's a local thing or if AMC does this everywhere, but if you go to the first showing or anything before noon, it's like $6. Okay. TV streaming. We got Santa Clarita Diet Season 2. What the hell is this?
that's got Timothy, what'd you call him, Oil Derrick?
Oily man.
Oil Derrick Flowers or something?
Timothy
Oil
Olyphant.
Frodo, it's an oily font.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, this is him and Drew Barrymore, where Drew Barrymore turned into a zombie, and like they're still trying to go through their suburban LA day-to-day life as realtors.
Like
The
being
first
vegan
season-
and stuff.
Yeah, the first season was okay. It didn't leave me wanting more, but they made more, and this was the one I would probably keep watching if my stuff didn't expire on Monday.
On Monday.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is not till the 23rd, but I think my stuff expires on the 19th or something.
Once again, the 19th. Monday. It's my birthday. March 30th. A Series of Unfortunate Events, Season 2. A Series of Unfortunate Events, Season 2. John, you liked that?
Yeah, that's a really
You
good
both
first
did, right?
season.
You saw it too, Jake.
Yeah, there was a really good twist to that first season, because you spend so much time thinking that these certain characters are a certain, like you spend a lot of time thinking that they are certain people, and you find out that they are not those people, and it really just squeezes the last bit of hope you had in you out.
Oh, man.
It's a really good show. It's like a super dark but still charming, like if Tim Burton actually had a sense of humor instead of just being spooky and thinking that makes you funny.
Right.
Honestly, it feels like an 80s Terry Gilliam has his own TV show, like, to a degree. Like, the level of
Isn't this,
costuming and visual is awesome.
Isn't this stuff for kids?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Okay. All right. Awesome. No,
And
that's
it's-
good. I like stuff for kids that's not afraid to go dark.
Well, it's a family show, like in the sense that like there is something for the whole family to like about this.
Right. Okay.
There's like some slapstick humor. There's Neil Patrick Harris, he plays an actor in the show, and just being the John Lovitz, over the top, acting actor.
Yeah.
And just the physical comedy with that. There's a baby that they subtitle. So the baby's got all these lines, and kids like that kind of stuff. So there's
They
something
do.
for everyone in this show.
Yeah.
It's
Like when
got
the dog talks.
It's got Patrick Warburton is in it. Will Arnett is in it. In each episode,
Okay.
I think there were 6 last season. There is a character that pops up where you're like, oh, I totally know that person. You couldn't name them, but you know who they are. So it's familiar people all across the board, and it's just super well done. It's great.
I'll have to check that out.
So we're running
That's it for
along.
releases.
So we're going to wrap up. So thanks everyone for joining us live. Be sure and join us on every other Thursday at 8 p.m. Our next show is going to be on the 29th.
Yep.
Send us emails at carouselpodcast@gmail.com and we'll discuss them on the show. Join our Facebook group, join the Discord. You can find a link on our Twitter. You can find our Twitter, Carousel Podcast. You can buy my music on iTunes, Amazon, and musem.bandcamp.com. Randy, where can we find you?
Excuse me. What is my name? At OSU Cobra on Twitter. Gifts of Men on PS4.
He's a great self-promoter, that guy.
Okay.
That's me.
Well, thanks for joining us,
I'm
guys.
not even friends with the guys on the podcast.
See you, everyone.
Bye, guys.
All right. See you later.
Okay, titles.
Yep. Let me load them. Stop recording. No,
Not yet. What'd you
How
do?
long you been doing this, dude?
well, I can never remember.
Did
this
you already
is for
click
the
stop?
Fucking rodeo.
Our stream. No, I haven't clicked stop yet.
Okay, good.
I'll record it. All right, whatever. John's got to edit it, not me. Okay. Go away or shut up. I'm going to go ahead and just admit that this is my front runner in a nut bag. The Underground. Something else I streamed. I found his acting to be transformative. Come on, John. Whatever, John. Everything Dies in Arizona. That's another good one. Jackbox Party Packs.
You actually had that wrong. He called it Jack in the Box games.
No, somebody said Jackbox Party Packs, I swear.
Isn't that what they're called?
Well, we don't
I
have
think
to
that's
pick
their
it.
literal name.
We don't have to pick it.
Okay.
Always a pleasant surprise. Dragon Age-ish Bridge. That's kind of a mouthful.
Eh.
It was Jack in the Box games. The Blood Lake is before. And Valid but Wrong.
I think there's 4 front runners here.
So
It's
I'm gonna go
the
ahead
first.
and put
It's the first 3, and Everything Dies in Arizona. To me.
Go Away or Shut Up, In and Up Bag, The Underground. I like Something Else I Streamed, and Everything Dies in Arizona.
Everything Dies in Arizona is pretty good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I really
What-
like Go Away or Shut Up for a
Yes.
title.
I gotta
Because
get in there for In and Up Bag because that was
Jessica
so funny
Jones
to
just
me.
yelling that at someone all frustrated, like she just couldn't think of a line, or just go away, shut up.
I feel like
But-
Everything Dies in Arizona is pretty great, though.
It's the one.
Ah, damn it! What you were trying to say was in a nutshell. You said
Mhm.
it.
But instead,
In a
he
Nutbag.
talked about a scrotum. Yep.
Oh my god! It made me laugh so
I
hard.
mean, do you guys want to use it in that pack? It was
I
my
think it's
favorite.
Arizona. I'll
Alright.
fight for Arizona.
okay.
I'll go with Arizona too.
Okay, cool. Thanks for everyone for joining us live. We'll see you in a
Bye, guys.
couple
Alright.
weeks. As soon as I find the button to